guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Today, well, we're going to go ahead and review the last 10 champions that I've maxed out on the account, and I'm going to actually rank them from 10 to 1, 10 being the worst and 1 being the best. There are a couple really crappy champions in this mix, and then there's a lot of really good champions. So I don't want you guys to read too much into, I'll try to tier it out as I go, because, you know, champion number 6 could arguably be champion number 1, depending on what you need, but just for the fun of it, I'm going to rank these champions. By the way, guys, I have to say, the shave, what do you think? You like the full shave or no go? Is it a bad move? Anyway, I feel a little younger today. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about these champions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rank them, and then I'm going to take the top 5, put them on the same team together, and talk about why I love them so much, okay? So there's only 2 legendaries on the list. I haven't been very legendary focused here, even though I've pulled a lot of legendaries. I've been focusing on the new epic champions, as you guys have seen in the guides lately on the channel. So I want to start there, and let's start out with number 10, my least favorite. Out of all of these champions, happens to be a Void epic champion. And it's none other, than Broadmaw. So Broadmaw, I had to max out for the Lizardman secret room in Doom Tower hard, and man, you know, he has a revival, which is really cool. First of all, he's a big fella. He takes up the whole, or is it a she? Am I gonna do the boobage thing again? No, I'm not gonna do it. It's a guy. It's just an out of shape Lizardman. That's all. All right, so. Let's talk about his kit, right? Ice Blast has a freeze on the A1, small chance, increased speed, baby version of increased speed, whatever, right? On a 3-turn cooldown. He has Resurrect, two random allies revived with 25% HP, block damage buff on the revived allies for 1 turn on a 5-turn cooldown. He does have an arena defense. Okay, cool, I guess. That's it, man. Broadmaw, he's not bringing anything to the table at all. A weak version of increased speed. He's not a champion that I would advise you guys unless you really need a Lizardman like I did, epic Lizardman for the secret room, or in case you need a Resurrector, maybe for faction wars in Lizardmen. I guess those areas is the only reason I would invest in this champion. Number 9 is going to be Basilisk. Now, trust me, they're not all Lizardmen. There's only the number 9 and number 10 on the list here. But again, same reason I max out Basilisk for Lizardmen room, right? And I gotta say, I like Basilisk a little bit more than Broadmaw personally. He has an A1, an AoE on the A1, and that's the only reason I invested in him, right? Attacks all enemies, plays an increased attack buff, the weak version on this champion for 2 turns if the attack is critical. On the A2, has a stun. Okay, it's 100% stun though on a 3-turn cooldown, which again isn't anything to write home about, but when you only have epic Lizardmen to choose from, that actually comes in handy, you know? Skull Clobber. And then his passive is revives this champion with 30% HP when killed and places a block damage buff for 1 turn on a 6-turn, you know, passive cooldown. That's really it, guys. Basilisk is another, kind of like Broadmaw, right? Unless you just really need, I mean, what could you really need? A stun on a single target on a 3-turn cooldown, or an AoE with the you know, the self-increase attack. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but you know, I'll take what I can get, and he actually helped me out being my main damage dealer inside Lizardmen, along with Jared kind of finishing off that team. So it is what it is. He's not a great champion. I would put him, I don't know, I actually put him down. I put down on my little piece of paper here. I'm so old that instead of taking notes on my computer, I have the, you can't even see it, but I have the list all written down on an index card for you guys. We're living in the 90s here on Ash Raid Shadow Legends. All right, so coming in at number 8 is going to be a champion who has a lot of potential, but if you saw the guide that I did on her, she's kind of broke right now. I put her in C tier because, again, champion that's not trash. But why does she go in with the Lulling Chant? Her AI is broken right now. She's going to auto onto her Lulling Chant and Chancellor Yasmin. 50%, a 75% chance for removing all buffs from all enemies. Really cool. Then places sleep debuff for 1 turn on enemies who have active buffs. Problem is, she's always using this when the enemies don't have any active buffs. You know? So if they have no buffs, then why are you trying to remove them? She can't even use sleep. She's just wasting a turn almost every single time. She's going to auto into Lulling Chant no matter what. They just need to fix that, right? She has a good 2-turn heal on her Touch of Vigor, which initially kind of attracted me to this champion. And then she has an extra hit on her A1 if they have no active buffs. Speed in all battles by 20% too. You can run her as a speed lead. So, you know, all things being equal here, I don't know why I have, oh, okay. I have just War Master on her. I thought it was Helm Smasher for a second. Wait a second. It lists here that I have Helm Smasher, but obviously I do not. What's going on with that? What's going on with that? All right, anyway, I have War Master on her, not Helm Smasher. So that is Chancellor Yasmin, right? A decent support champion, really high base speed, good base stats overall. I like this champion, but she's kind of broken right now. Let's keep it moving here with another champion. Now, we're still, I guess, in like, I think we're moving into B tier now. We're moving into B tier, another Force Affinity epic. It is Rector Giraffe. So Rector Giraffe apparently is a female as well. So we talked a lot about that in the video. Rector Giraffe is a really cool champion. I can't wait to play her alongside Roxum, who I just pulled in my last shard opening video. Gonna be really cool to see them together because they have that Veil synergy. The thing is Rector Giraffe, she really slows a run down, man. Even though she's a fast champion, 109, and I have her built like with all speed in her kit here. So a lot of speed on this champion. She dishes out a ton of heals, an AoE heal, then she places a perfect Veil, and look at her passive here. Whenever an ally under Veil or perfect Veil gets a turn, heals them by 10% of their max HP, and then increases their resistance as well, revives a single ally on a 4-turn cooldown with a perfect Veil. So she's putting all kinds of Veils all the time on all of your allies, and she's going every single turn with this passive, every turn, which actually makes runs, because the animation is not that fast, actually it makes runs take about a minute longer, it feels like, okay? Probably exaggerating, maybe 20-30 seconds longer. So definitely not a speed runner by any, you know, sense of the imagination. I guess it's just gonna say Helm Smasher on all these champions, because we actually do have War Master on this champion for masteries as well. Went over here and grabbed Lasting Gifts, might as well, and the healing masteries on top of that. So we have a bunch of speed built in. Rector Giraffe is coming in at number 7. That's B tier. Now I'm going to move up to A tier. Like I told you guys, I maxed out a ton of amazing epic champions here, and a couple really great legendaries too. So let's talk about Vogoth. So Vogoth, I think, is an A tier champion in case you missed the guide. I'm really impressed with Vogoth. He brings a lot to the table, way more than Bergoth the Malformed, for example, who also has kind of a passive that whenever this champion is attacked, he heals all allies. A way better champion, really not even comparable. So on the A1, attacks one enemy 3 times. So I have Giant Slayer Mastery, damage based on HP here. Each hit has a 40% chance of increasing the duration of one random debuff. On the A2, he has a Provoke, also has a chance of placing decrease attack on targets who receive the Provoke. What a great ability here on Wave of Revulsion. And then has 2 passives. Whenever the champion is attacked, heals all allies by 50% of the damage received. You know, compared to 20% of the damage received. That's a huge bump. And then the other one, when attacked, places a leech debuff on the attacker for 2 turns. If the attacker is under provoke debuff placed by this champion, also has a 100% chance of increasing the cooldown of a random skill on the attacker by 2 turns. What? Really, really, really good passives here. A great healer, puts out some decent damage as well. Really a big fan of this champion, Vogoth. And again, masteries-wise, we went with Giant Slayer, a 3-hitter on the A1. Hits pretty hard for a support champion, right? For HP-based champion, I guess. All right, so going on number 5 here. This is where things get really, really tough, because I think that all 5 of these top 5 champions are S-tier game changers for their respective rarities. Well, I take that back. Maybe not Coronar. So Coronar is one of the, he's a Void legendary champion. Really, really, really cool champion. Can I call him an absolute game changer difference? You know, that you have him in your account is absolutely just, you know, whatever. No, I wouldn't go that far personally. Maybe some people would disagree with me. I know Deadwood Jedi would disagree with me. He's a big fan of this dude. But personally, I think he's really good, but I have better options. Granted, I'm a dirty pay-to-win whale at this game, but it says something, right? It still says something that there are better options, pretty much everything that he does. However, he is a really cool kind of turn meter champion, kind of a control champion. I think he is one of the most unique kits in the game. I love this champion overall. Comes in at number 5 because, well, let's go ahead and review him really quickly. I really want to talk, he has an AoE provoke here, really cool, right? But I really want to talk about the synergy between his A1 and his A3, or actually his passive rather. So his A1 attacks all enemies, has a 50% chance of decreasing the target's turn meter by 5%, okay? And then the passive is counterattacks when hit by enemies under decreased attack, decreased defense, decreased speed. He has decreased defense and decreased attack on a 4-turn cooldown on his A3. So he's bringing a lot to the table here. Places an increased defense buff on all allies for 2 turns if this champion kills an enemy. Pretty cool passive, but he's not killing that many enemies. He's not hitting that hard, but he is reducing turn meter all the time. You guys are going to see it because he's in my top 5. So we're going to take him into, I don't know, Ice Golem or something, and you guys will see him in action. Very, very cool champion. I went War Master on him, kind of hugged the right side, as you can see on the support tree as well. In terms of his gear, we just have an accuracy set on him. We have crit rate, HP, and speed on him as well. He is an HP, well, that one doesn't have any damage being dealt, but he is an HP damage dealer on his A3 and his A1 here. So important to note to build this champion with obviously some crit rate, a little bit of crit damage. Accuracy is going to be a must, and of course, building him with HP, right? My bad for not kind of going over the artifacts in all these champions, but it's kind of talk about, you know, their overall utility, right? Now we get into the top 4. Ooh, gonna consult my little index card here, guys. It's getting really good here. All right, so number 4, I think I'm going to go with. It pains me to put this champion at number 4 because I think an S tier epic champion, and we're gonna go. I just did a guide on her. It's Armina. What do you think of Armina on my guide, guys? And I'm not saying Armina's better than Coronar. If I had to choose between the two, I would go with the Void Legendary. But I think that considering rarity here, Armina is a very special champion, right? On the A1 has a stun at a 45% chance, 50 if you grab the Sniper Mastery. Trampling Rampage attacks all enemies. I just did a guide on her if you guys want to check it out. All the guides that I did on these champions will be in the description below. And AoE decreases defense, plus steals 7.5% of the turn meter from targets under decreased defense debuffs on a 3-turn cooldown. Also has this really cool A3 on a 3-turn cooldown as well. Decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 20%. Has a 100% chance when booked of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn on enemies who have their turn meter fully depleted. Pretty cool ability, always controlling the pace and obviously controlling the enemy team in terms of their turn meter and potentially stunning them as well. And then a really cool passive, fills this champion's turn meter by 10% each time an enemy receives a stun debuff. Perfect to pair her with Sill of the Drakes, man. That's a ton of turn meter fill, plus her own stun, plus a decreased defense, plus with an AoE attack that deals a decent amount of damage in an A1 that's very hard hitting. Really impressed with this champion. We went down and grabbed War Master on her as well, and we built her out 2 ways in that video, but this is the first way in Savage and crit rate, so she's actually putting out a lot of damage as well. Around 900k damage in level 20 dungeons with an all epic team. Anyway, let's go ahead and move into the top 3 here, guys. Coming in at number 3 is going to be, ooh, this feels like sacrilege to put this champion at 3. But she's more of a specialist, I guess, and a Sky-Touch Shaman. So Sky-Touch Shaman I did a full guide on in Frenzy set. I have her right now in Immunity. Immunity will block her own passive, so you don't have to worry about the fear and the decreased speed, which is really nice, especially in the arena. But Immortal Skies, not only is she an incredible, the best healer in the game in dungeons in terms of sheer damage healed, because of her passive here. Damages the champion by 10% of their HP at the start of each turn. Heals all allies except this champion equal to half of the lost HP. So you build her up with a ton of HP, which really isn't the case here. We could definitely use a higher HP, but at the end of the day, I'm using her in an arena speed nuking team, so I'm not relying on that heal. This is an arena build right now, guys, rather than for dungeons. I would put her in a Frenzy set with way more HP, right? So one of the best healers in the game, but Immortal Skies for the arena is insane. We talked about this in that video, but along with Battle Sage and and Madame Ceres, Skytouch Shaman, the top 3 epic that you actually see used inside the meta of Platinum tier arena in this game, and any speed farming team. You can go right into Hegemons, right into Torments, not worry about anything, right? Your allies are frozen, you have immunity gear on anyway, it's cool, removes all debuffs from all allies, then places a block debuffs and a revive on death on a 4-turn cooldown. You only need it once. She also has a decent AoE on her A1 as well that she brings to the table, and 25% HP in all battles. Dude, what a beast of a champion. We messed around, we went with timely intervention on this champion in terms of masteries, and we went down the defense tree as well. All kinds of good defensive masteries for this champion, especially for the arena. And again, keep in mind, this is an arena build here that you're looking at right now. We do have a crit rate on her. You know, for the arena, we just want her very, very, very fast. You can see the overall speed is 250 right now. That will get it done on my arena team. She's within 30% of Arbiter. And then we want her going fast, and we want her adding a little bit of damage to the equation after she leads in with her A2. Okay, top 2 champions. Number 2 is going to be the other legendary, Ignatius. Whoa! Taking up the whole screen, even more than Broadma. Holy moly. Ignatius is insane. Before I had Ignatius, you know, I saw some of you guys in the comments being like, dude, Ignatius, people sleep on him in terms of a damage dealer. In terms of a damage dealer who's really difficult to kill because his damage is based on defense. And I have to say, I concur. I use this dude, you've probably seen it before, but him in Siphi just solo level 120 Ice Spider in hard Doom Tower. That's how good he is, right? Has a stun on the A1, on the A2, and AoE on the A3 AoE. We have an AoE provoke on the A2 that's pretty hard hitting based on defense, and then an AoE HP burn on the A3. 5-turn cooldown, but still very hard hitting on top of that. Good multipliers for a defense-based champion. And then he has defense in all battles by 25%, so you can run him as an aura lead as well. Really crazy to have a defensive debuffer slash nuker slash controller with a provoke, also adding a really strong defensive aura. Really cool, kind of like, I guess Altan is another champion like that in a way, but doesn't add, you know, adds more support but less damage than Ignatius. So Ignatius is not only a nuker, but he's also a debuffer, like we talked about, has a provoke as well. Easy to build because you just load him up with accuracy and defense, you know, crit damage after that crit rate. We went War Master on this champion. Oops. We went War Master on this champion, and we went down to Master Hexer as well, although obviously it will not work on the Provoke, but it will work on the HP Burn. So that's Ignatius, man. He's just been huge for me, you know. He's literally and figuratively, he's been huge champion in terms of my progression inside this game. But number 1, now you guys, maybe some of you guys know at this point, what champion, oh, by the way, guys, I did not choose Akshak, the Wenderen. I'll learn how to pronounce his freaking name before I do a guide on him. You can see I don't have his masteries built. I actually have started maxing him out, started building him, but I haven't used him at all anywhere yet. So, or her? I think it's a guy, right? It's a how do you check the gender on these freaking champions? Anyway, very, very cool champion, but I haven't used it. I don't want to, you know, how am I going to rank someone I haven't even used yet? So in the process of building him out. But number 1 is going to be, there she is, Ugo. Again, I want to be very clear here. I don't think that Ugo in a vacuum, if you were going to give me the choice of Ugo or a legendary, especially a void legendary, I'd take the harder to get champion. But in terms of overall, just what they bring to the table, assuming that all the rarities were the same, I would go Ugo over all of these champions. Tell me I'm crazy in the comments below. Go for it. Bring it on. I think she's one of the best epics in the game. Been saying that for a while. Has a leech, but you know what? I said that about Stag Knight right when he was released. And a few of you guys in the comments were like, dude, Ash, you're way too high on this champion. He's all right. He's all right, but you're overrating him. And now I think it's pretty, I think a lot of people agree that Stag Knight's one of the best champions in the game, best epics in the game, you know? Or over the next few months, you know, it was like, okay, yeah, he's amazing. I think I feel the same way about Ugo. This leech is very dependable on the A1, 35% chance. Increases by 5% for each enemy alive. You actually get a lot of heals out of Ugo. Between the A1 leech and the A3 on the brew, insane heals out of this champion, who's also landing a decreased defense, who's also landing a block buffs for 2 turns. The chance of placing the block buffs gets increased by 5% for each enemy alive. From 75%, it can scale up to 100% on a 3-turn cooldown. So we're landing the guaranteed decreased defense on the 3-turn cooldown. We're landing a very reliable and consistent block buffs for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. That's really, really good. And then we have the Ugo's Brew, removes all heal reduction debuffs from all allies, then removes 1 random debuff from all allies. Sometimes that's all you need. Then heals all allies by 20% of this champion's max HP. If all allies are dead, revives them. Why not? With 50% HP, and then fills their turn meter by 50% instead. On a 4-turn cooldown. Dude. And then the passive is just kind of a fun one. If the last living ally of Ugo, before, you know, like the whole team wipes except for her and Thenasil, right? Thenasil dies, so once Thenasil dies, she gets a block damage and an increased speed on herself to help her cycle and stay alive to revive the rest of your allies. Kind of a cool passive just to add to an already amazing kit. We messed around, went with the Oppressor, and actually worked out really well on this champion. Increases the turn meter fill rate by 2.5% for each active debuff cast by this champion. Keep in mind, she does have that leech on top of the block buffs, on top of the decreased defense, so we're getting that turn meter fill rate stacked up to 10% rather quickly. Really cool ability, and yeah, we went defense as well. Of course, you can build her out to do some damage too. She deals some decent damage, not like your main nuker, not as much as Armina, but you can go War Master on this champion as well if you choose to do so. So that is my number 1 Ugo, guys. What do you think? Those are my last 10 champions. I'm gonna bring them all for a quick spin inside Ice Golem's Peak, and when I say all, I mean the top 5. Here they are, all ready to go. We have Skytouch Shaman in order. We have Coronar. We have Armina. We have Skytouched, we have Ignatius, and we have Ugo. So Ignatius in the lead for the allied defense. The one thing about this team is we don't have like a traditional nuker on the team, except for obviously Ignatius. So typically on a faster run, you can see, look at this. I mean, look at this team. Look at all those debuffs. We have HP burn, we have, I can't even read them, provoke, block debuffs, decrease attack, this stun. This team brings everything to the table, right? And we have heals too in Skytouch Shaman. Really cool. And here you can see Coronar right now, guys, right? Every time he's attacked, he's landing that provoke, right? Every time, there's his provoke. We have 2 provokers on the team. If we had Vogoth in here, we'd have 3 provokers on the team. But now he's attacked, he's gonna counterattack, boom, and decrease turn meter. So that's how Coronar is a really cool control champion. And I have to say, his A1 animations, one of the coolest in the game. Don't you love that A1 of Coronar? Those Terror Bees never even had a chance of getting that Shriek ability up. Pretty cool to see a team like this kind of do its thing, you know? It's not the fastest team in the world, again, because we're lacking, again, like I was saying, I would normally run, you know, maybe take out Skytouch Shaman. I think it's a little bit of overkill here, and maybe run an all-out nuker in place of her there. Maybe a champion like, I don't know, Dark Elhain or something like that. Or, even better yet, I would actually probably add Silva Drakes, right? Silva Drakes to this team. I don't think we need Coronar in this team either. Like, having the extra provokes is a little bit redundant. So I would take out Coronar, and I would take out Skytouch, maybe put in a Dark Elhain, and put in a, well, I don't know if I would take out Skytouch now. Silva Drakes definitely, though. Because that stun will synergize really cool with Armina, right? With her A3. But again, with a team like this, it's like, it's weird. You don't need, and Coronar, he's going to surprise you guys. All those counterattacks with an AoE, he's going to be putting out a ton of damage, guys. I mean, look at him. He's just on a tear right now. I should try Coronar. Maybe I was a little bit too down on Coronar, ranking him 4th or whatever I did, you know? Or 5th. Again, I was not really taking into consideration his, okay, I'm really talking myself into Coronar right now, you know? I'm like, okay, he's a beast. So we actually lose Skytouch. She kind of kills herself there. But at the end of the day, we will get the job done. We have the healer still alive in Ugo. And that's the thing about Ugo, too, that she just heals so much, man, between the A1, the leech, and the A3. So about a 2-minute and 30-second team or so. I'm interested to compare the damage and the healing from all of these champions. How close will Ugo be to Skytouch in terms of overall heals? Well, you guys can see not even close to Skytouch Shaman. We have 3. Oh, let's just take a look at all these champions. First, we have Ignatius at 1.745 damage. Closest was Coronar, and then Armina as well at over 1,000,000 damage. And then we have Ugo putting out 384 in heals, plus the leech though. So basically these numbers, 84 Ignatius, 84 on Coronar, and 64 on Armina, are all the leech of Ugo. And then we have Skytouch Shaman at 711. So, you know, really cool team, guys. Let me know if you liked this video talking about the last 10 champions I've maxed, who's good, who's not. Let me know if you disagree with me on any of these champion rankings. And again, yeah, let me know. Let me know what your last, I don't know, 3 champions were in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and as always, take care, guys.